All right, everyone. My name is Tara Gilbert, and I'm a clinical application specialist for Compumedics. And today I'm joined by my colleague, Peter Parslow, who's here all the way from Australia. Thanks so much for being here, Peter. If you have any questions, feel free to go ahead and type those in the chat. You can send those directly to Peter, and we'll take care of those at the end. You don't want to speak verbally. So we do have a short presentation planned for you today on the 7 essential elements of lab management software that you should have. And like I said, we do have time at the end for some questions. So let's go ahead and get started. So Compumedics went ahead and completed a survey of lab managers across the US to learn more about their priorities. And that really helped me to set objectives for this webinar today. So I set out to identify what the critical quality measures for a lab management system to improve healthcare, as well as working to develop a deeper understanding of essential elements for a productive and functional lab management system. The goal of all sleep and neurodiagnostic labs is to provide high-quality patient care that is safe, timely, effective, efficient, equitable, and designed to be patient-centric according to the Institute of Medicine Committee on Quality of Healthcare in America. But really, how can we measure this? Substantial quality improvement can be achieved by using information technology as a strategic plan. And the quality of care is typically measured across 3 dimensions. Structure refers to the setting in which care is delivered. Processes represent the steps taken by providers in delivering care to patients. Clinical outcomes are often measurable only years after treatment. So common measures for quality improvement are most often tied to structure and processes of care within the control of the healthcare system. And today we're going to review the quality measures that lab managers have indicated are critical to consider when evaluating a lab management software. So the first essential element we'll discuss today is workflow efficiency. The American Academy of Sleep Medicine identified baseline assessment of obstructive sleep apnea symptoms and the speedy diagnosis and treatment of OSA as important outcome measures. Objective testing is necessary and required for the diagnosis of OSA and classification of disease severity. The ASM quality measures for OSA also indicates a requirement to obtain a sleep study within 2 months of initial evaluation. So tracking the patient through the workflow efficiently is imperative in prompt initiation of treatment and reduction of OSA-associated comorbidities. Workflows are an important asset to get more done with less. They systematize the work that is done, so less time is required for manually managing how work progresses and more time available to focus on giving the best to individual tasks. So a tip from lab managers on workflow efficiency is that customizable workflows should be a key feature in your software choice. The next one we'll go over today is information storage and retrieval. Maintaining patient data, including raw data, for a minimum of 5 years or longer, as required by law, along with providing electronic copies to other treating physicians in accordance with patients' requests for release of medical information, are both essential in meeting ASM standards. Access to patient questionnaires, screening assessments, historical and medication records is key to providing quality care. So a tip from lab managers about the information storage and retrieval is that your lab management software should be patient-centric, allowing quick access to records, even those that are archived. Integration with hospital EMRs and infrastructure for storage and access to data on a long-term basis is pivotal. The next essential element we'll talk about today is reporting capabilities. Running an efficient and even profitable lab that delivers quality patient testing requires many decisions. Access to data has significant benefits that can transform decision-making processes. Leaving data sitting on dashboards or in databases is like leaving money on the table. The less data that you have, the more risk you take on. Any decision you need to make should be based on your goals for your department. Wanting to hire more staff, being able to evaluate average workflow times or number of studies by site or physician offers key insights into your staffing needs. In another example, you may want to understand where your referrals are coming from or see a study count by diagnostic code. Data arms you with information, a powerful tool for more informed decisions. So a tip from our lab managers on the reporting capabilities is to have access to a comprehensive set of lab reports that provide valuable data you can use to make smarter business decisions. The next element we'll discuss is integration and scalability. A truly integrated patient data and lab management system should consist of a database that is seemingly aligned with the hardware and software used to make patient diagnoses. Patching third-party solutions together over multiple vendors often fails to produce a truly integrated approach and may result in regulatory hurdles. For many lab managers, multiple locations are the norm, and having multi-site management tools is a critical requirement to standardize patient care across a healthcare system. So a tip from lab managers about the integration and scalability is that you should use a fully managed service with simple installation, system backups, regular software updates, reliable signal acquisition, and real-time uploading to centralized servers. Use a system that caters to a multi-site healthcare system and provides secure site-dependent access while ensuring standardized workflows and tools. The next element we'll discuss is accessibility. Dealing with change in healthcare is a constant, but never more so than today. The hybrid workplace is the new normal. Cloud-based technologies have provided most businesses with the tools employees need to create seamless virtual work environments at home or in remote locations. Healthcare professionals can work more efficiently when they are able to view, score, interpret, and virtually sign reports remotely using any device connected to the internet. So a tip from lab managers on accessibility is that you should look for software with the ability to access data from any device, anytime, and anywhere. The next element we'll discuss is security. The changeover from paper records to electronic health records has greatly increased the quality and efficiency of patient care, and with that comes security concerns. Similar to your online banking tools, a reliable web-based lab management system will provide increased security of your health data by applying industry-standard encryption, secure logins, and unmodifiable audit trails. As lab managers, having the latest tools to ensure security of your patient's health information is a top priority. So a tip from lab managers about security is to look for a software that has a two-factor authenticated login, Active Directory integration capabilities, digitally signing of reports, secure logins, and user trafficking with all web traffic being securely encrypted and HIPAA compatible. And certainly last but not least, we'll talk about the price evaluation. Fitting into your budget is one of your biggest concerns. It is important to evaluate the cost of maintaining and operating the system, which includes expenses such as server maintenance, network equipment maintenance fees, upgrade costs, licensing, and technical support fees. Always consider the value for what you are paying and whether it will meet your goal of delivering high-quality care. Working closely with your IT department can help to determine the overall best fit for your budget and priorities. So a tip from lab managers on the cost of ownership is that software as a service with ongoing subscription fees allows the lab manager to defer considerable expenses to an operational budget to ensure ongoing costs are better managed. The inclusion of regular software updates within a subscription model ensures that the lab is always using the latest version of software required to meet accreditation without the hassles of annual or biannual budgeting for expensive software updates. So I hope in today's short webinar, you feel like you've gained a little bit of insight into how you might identify critical quality measures and developed a deeper understanding for the essential elements of a lab management system. If you do want a PDF transcript of today's webinar, you can contact us at usamarketing@CompumedicsUSA.com. I'd like to go ahead and open up the floor to see if we have any questions.
Hey, thanks, Tara. I do have a couple of questions here. If I could just sort of post them out and chat, and I can provide the answer if you want as well.
Okay, that sounds great. Thanks, Peter.
No problem. So one of the first ones was somebody's asked how they can efficiently integrate the lab management system to a hospital EMR, so a hospital record system. The answer to that is that most systems will use a universal interfacing protocol known as HL7, and that will provide bidirectional integration between your in-lab management system, like in the sleep clinic, and the hospital EMR. So it can bring patient information in from the hospital EMR, scheduling information, order information, and then push out the final report back to the EMR. So ensuring that you have a lab management system that's running the latest SQL database and also one that's HL7 compatible is critical there.
That's great.
Yep. I also had another one that was asking about how to quantify the return on investment that a lab management system might actually provide to a lab. This is a little bit trickier, and no doubt there are costs associated with implementing and maintaining an efficient lab management system, but there's efficiencies that can be gained in a variety of ways. So for example, you might be outsourcing the infrastructure side to a cloud vendor. So if you don't want to look after the servers and storage and all that, if that's your particular challenge, you may be able to outsource that component. Another big part of it is that ensuring that ongoing costs include all your system and software updates. Obviously, a lot of software nowadays, even your basic Windows operating, Windows and Microsoft Office 365, a lot of it's moved to a subscription basis where essentially you're constantly having the latest version. In sleep labs, neurodiagnostic labs, that's particularly important that you have the latest version so that you meet accreditation and so forth, and so that you always have the latest features at hand. Other ways to quantify that return on investment, using things like you mentioned, like workflow automation, to take some of those common time-consuming tasks, such as archiving or deleting video, which historically would have had a lot of labor costs. You can essentially automate that process now. So there's a whole bunch of factors that will help you depending on what your needs are, and they can essentially, you can quantify that to determine the return on investment. So for example, we've had cases where we've had a common measure is the physician's report turnaround time. We have had cases where we've had people be able to reduce that from 48 hours, which is already pretty good, to as low as 4 hours, simply by using workflow automations and so forth. There's, and probably the last question that I have here, unless anyone else wants to ask anything here, was really centered. Someone's asked about how they can be sure that the lab management software truly suits their needs. Obviously, it's a big investment, and as I mentioned before, there's many factors that you need to consider that depend on your specific pain points. So whether it's infrastructure is your problem, remote access, lab management itself, or the scoring, bottlenecks in the scoring process, the easiest way to determine that is probably just arrange a demo with the potential vendors that you're looking for and ask them if they have free trial accounts where you can actually go in and use the software yourself and assess it, not only the lab management software, but the diagnostic reporting software. Ask them for free trial account so that you can play with it and make sure it actually meets your needs. They're the main few questions I had just at the moment, Tara.
Okay, that sounds great. Thank you so much for those questions. And I think unless we get any other questions, we will go ahead and conclude today's live webinar. But I just want to thank everyone who tuned in, and I appreciate your time. Have a great day.
Thanks, Tara.
Bye-bye, Pete.